Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vasel and Sam Healey.
Hey folks, Tom Vasel here.
Sam Healey, what's up, y'all?
Today we're taking a look at a game called Thunder and Lightning, which would be a great name for a game no matter what, right?
Yeah, it's like they go together like peas and carrots.
Right, okay. Anywho, this is a game that's actually 16 years old. It is based on
Old
Hare
as
and
my
Zeus.
oldest son.
Yeah, I know. Hare and Zeus from Richard Borg, who most people know is the designer of Memoir 44, but this was before that happened. He designed a two-player game called Hare and Zeus. This is a re-implementation of it. There are several new cards that players have. If you've never heard of Hare and Zeus, who cares? Because Sam is about to show you how this is played.
Check this out. In order to prepare to play a game of Thunder and Lightning, each player is going to take their deck of 50 cards, shuffle them, and then draw their starting hand of 9 cards. The goal of Thunder and Lightning is for Loki to find Odin's ring, or for Thor to find Odin's crown. The crown and the ring are both cards that are in each other's decks respectively. If Odin's crown or Odin's ring is in the starting hand of either of the players, for example, here's Odin ring in the starting hand of Thor, he would have to show that card to his opponent, set it aside, draw a new one to replace it, and then shuffle that card back into the deck. Then each player is going to choose from their starting hand 3 cards to be placed down to form their first row. Now in your hand you have different cards that have numbers on them, like so. These are soldiers that have that kind of fighting strength if they are challenged. Then you also have cards that have a mystical ability and they don't have any kind of numerical value into it. Now these cards can be placed face down on your in your different rows to be challenged and so forth if you would like them to. But if that card is challenged, it has no fighting strength, so it is automatically a loser. At the bottom of the cards down here, you have a number that tells you how many copies of that card are in your deck. All right, so each player would take and choose 3 of their starting cards to form their starting row. As you play the game, Loki is going to take the first turn, and you have on your turn a number of actions equal to the number of columns that you have at the beginning of your turn. So you'll start the game with doing 3 actions per turn, but if you start your turn with only 2 columns, then you only have 2 actions for that specific turn, and then the next turn it will determine again how many columns you have available to you. So the different actions that you can do is either you can draw a card. The caveats being here is that once you have drawn or exhausted your draw deck, you cannot take the draw card action any longer. Furthermore, there is a hand limit of 12 cards in your hands. You can also play a card onto the battlefield. When you play the card down, more often than not, you're going to be playing it face down so that your opponent doesn't know what kind of card or what the strength of the card is. Then you can also play a mythological card. A mythological card is usually going to be played face up so that everybody can see that it's a mythological card. You carry out the actions that it denotes, and then you would simply put it into your discard pile. You can also, as another action, challenge one of the opponent's cards. So this card would be able to challenge this card would be able to challenge this card, and so forth and so on. This card could not challenge this card could not challenge this card. So you get the idea there. It has to be in the same column that the card is in. Now, in Loki's first turn, his first action was to draw a card from the deck. That's why I have 7 cards in my hand right now instead of just the 6. Then my second action is going to be to play a card from my hand. We're going to go ahead and put one of my cards face down as a back. Now, that is another thing that we need to mention here. The battlefield is 3 columns thick and 4 rows deep. That's on both sides. So the most that you can have, the most cards that you can have on the battlefield at any given time is 12 cards. Our third action is going to be to play the Seer, which says draw 3 cards from your opponent's deck. 1 through 7 strength cards are placed face up in your opponent's first row, and any other cards is given to your opponent for his hand. So I would turn over 1, 2, 3 cards, all right, and then any other card is given to his hand. I would discard this. And on Thor's turn, we're going to, first of all, play Berserker there down, so that now while we're attacking, my warriors are a strength 6, so that's my first action. My second action is going to be to challenge this card, which flips this guy over. He's a Frost Giant. Now, normally, Viking warriors would be killed by a Frost Giant, but because I have played Berserker and it's on top of my discard pile, that Frost Giant is toast. This one moves up to take its place. And then we're going to, let's see if we can continue going. Viking Warriors is going to do this one. It's a shield wall. So when challenged on the battlefield, it says, shield wall defeats all cards except for a female archer. And the shield wall cannot challenge. So I pressed my luck, and that actually was bad. This comes up. That was my third action. We are done. And that's how the game would continue until Thor is able to defeat or find the Odin's Crown card from Loki's deck, or Loki is able to defeat and or find the Odin's Ring from Thor's deck. Now there are 2 other in-game conditions where your opponent is unable to use all of his allowed action points. If that is the case, they automatically lose. If your opponent starts his turn with no cards in his battlefield, he automatically loses and the game is over.
Well, first of all, I have to say the presentation for this game is amazing.
Yup.
I really like the artwork. I really like, they changed the theming.
Right.
It was like a sideways theming. They moved it from one pantheon of gods to another pantheon.
To a better pantheon.
Sam is biased towards Norse.
I am, but that's okay, because it really, really shines through here.
Yeah, I guess it does. You're basically playing symmetrical sides for the most part. It doesn't matter if you're playing Thor or Loki, but the cards look different. Loki's cards have a distinctive evil flair to them.
Of course.
But the art is just fantastic. I love the backs of the cards. It's good. The only problem is that the cards may be a little large. If you're playing like this and you have a thin table, you're going to run into problems.
Yeah, it got close even with a larger sized table that we have it at our house. Our dining room table is a little bit bigger than the normal 3x6s that we're used to using, or the 3x8s, whatever they are. But you have to be careful with it. But you still can do it. We overlap the cards sometimes just to give ourselves a little bit of room, and that worked okay as well.
You might be able to turn the whole thing sideways.
Yeah.
Say I'm playing from the right to left.
Right.
That would probably lose a little bit. I think for some people, going sideways would be odd.
The confrontational aspect would be lost maybe.
So what board game would you compare this to?
Stratego?
Yes! That was a softball pitch.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, now if you like Stratego, this is kind of like a card game of Stratego, but it's also a game of guess where the card is that you're looking for, whether it's the crown or the other card. Is it in the hand? Because you can keep it in your hand the whole game.
Yeah, it did, and that's very dangerous.
Makes you sweat.
My wife beat me that way. It was kind of a perfect storm situation because I drew Odin's crown. She was playing Thor. I drew Odin's crown into my hand at the end of my turn as the third action of my turn. And the first action of her turn, she played Ravens. And so I was like, you kidding me? So I shuffled my cards really, really well, and she pulls Odin's crown. So nothing I could do about it. But
well, I guess you could say maybe you shouldn't draw for your third action if you don't have it in your hand yet.
I guess so, but that's like the last thing you're doing. Yeah, I need to see to bolster my... Oh, no. It's that thing, but...
But I like that, and I like the fact that it's dangerous. I like the fact that there's those, I call them the bomb cards, where when you pull that card, it blows up the whole row or
like
anything.
the nightmare, yeah. I got
Right,
you.
because you're never quite sure when those cards are going to go off, and you could even, as I have found out, make yourself lose by getting one of those. And then when you put the stuff out on the board, that whole, what is this card? You don't know what that card
Exactly.
is. Then that's the thing you get from Stratego. But it's just that the game has a really good balance of there's advantages to keeping the card in your hand, and there's advantages to putting it on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I think comparing it to Stratego where that element is there is doing it a little bit of a disservice because with Thunder and Lightning you can choose where all of your stuff is. You have that ability to as the time goes, even play cards that will let you shift cards from one place to another. So you have more, I guess you could say, control over what is where and how long it stays there and that type of thing. So I like this a lot better than Stratego. I mean, the basic element is definitely there, but I like this a lot better.
Well, I think it's a better game, too.
Right.
Comparisons to Hera and Zeus, the game it's based on, obviously better artwork. Sam says better gods.
Yes.
The one huge change from the original game is that the text is on the cards. In the original game, you had to constantly compare the card to a sheet to say, what does this card do again? Right. Here, it's written out. It's really clear.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to... The rule book tells you exactly what each one does, but it's pretty easy.
I guess maybe that would cost more money to print the words on the cards, but...
Well, if you want to do it in multiple languages, that's the thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it really does help with gameplay. Not having to constantly check a player aid sheet or something to that effect. Everything's right there, and it's really self-explanatory after you've read the card, how the cards work. So that was a brilliant game design choice, I guess you could say.
And I also like the new cards they added. Some just neat stuff. Hey, oh, you've been keeping that card in the back? Boom, I can hit it right now, right here.
Right.
Or I win ties with this card being on top of this card. These aren't like major things, but...
No, they're just cool little additions.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this game flows really well. It won't take too long because someone has to win at some point.
Exactly.
And like I said, it adds a level of stress. If we did games where you had stress, I think some points you're like, please don't pick that card. But I can't let you know that that card's even in my hand.
Yeah, exactly. 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes for a game is probably average. Easy, maybe even less than 30 minutes if you got two people who are really familiar with the game. That's a really good time frame for this kind of game. So I can't say enough good about it, really. I love it. My wife said, she looked over at our game shelf and she said, yeah, you can go ahead and buy this. And then she looked at our game shelf. You can get rid of Odin's Ravens and buy this.
Ooh.
And I was like, not getting rid of Odin's Ravens, but okay, I'll buy this one. So it's a instant ad for me.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see it come back. I like the original version, and this is going to be an ad for me, too. 2 Loki Spears Up.
Boring. I'm going to give this 2 female archers way up because they're one of the cooler things in the decks.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.